Now we're live. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Daily Betslip live on a Friday. I'm your host, Reed Wallach. Alongside me, Donnavan Smoot. We got a loaded show for you today. Of course, college football bowl season started with a thrilling Bahamas Bowl this afternoon. I was sweating that finish. Miami, Ohio tackled at the 1 yard line. We have a bowl game going on right now. I'm looking right at it. It's commercial. We have World Cup finals coming up this weekend. We got a loaded NBA slate, college football, college basketball, NFL. We got everything. Like I said, I'm your host, Reed Walk, alongside me, Donnavan Smoot. Donovan, how's it going?
It's going good, man. We low-key have with the absence of baseball though, it's like a perfect time to be a sports fan. Like it's like another equinox.
This is one of this 1 week. Maybe the next 2 weekends around Christmas, especially with the NFL on Christmas Day and stuff. I know the NBA isn't thrilled about it, but you're starting the World Cup at the same time. Like, this is a really busy time of year for sports fans, sports bettors, guys like ourselves. I mean, this is kind of, what is it? I want to pull up what tomorrow is. I think we got 3 NFL games because it's Saturday.
There's like 8. Yeah, we have 3 NFL games. We have like 8 NBA games. Bowl games are going on.
6 college football bowls tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a loaded weekend. It's a loaded weekend.
We got 200 college basketball games. I mean, this is really like the depths of the sports calendar. You know, you usually think it's closer to around October, April maybe, but no, we got some busy times ahead. And let's get into it. Talking before we get to our best bets, let's do some community questions. We had 2 responses, 2 pretty random ones, honestly, but we'll start with Trent Crim's one because he's been handing out college football winners, the FCS likes all year long. I know he gave us Princeton one time. I know last week he was tweeting about Incarnate Word to beat Sacramento State. I don't know if you saw the box score, but it was 66-63 or something, a thrilling game on Friday night. Well, he's going back to the well. He's taking Incarnate Word once again, plus 280 on the money line to beat North Dakota State in the Fargo Dome. Listen, it's tough to stand in front of this Incarnate Word wagon at the moment. They just beat Sacramento State. Sacramento State's head coach just took the Stanford job, so that's a nice win. Can they keep it up on the road? Maybe. Sitting at around 8.5-point underdog. Their quarterback, Lindsley, went to LSU, then Nicholls State, and then I think it was back to an FBS school. Now he's back in the FCS with Incarnate Word, and they have the best offense in the FCS ranks. So, I guess screw the points. Tell your bookie to keep them. We'll go with the plus 280 money line. Donovan, any thoughts on the FCS playoffs tonight?
Listen, this is the definition of in the weeds. I'm not in the weeds on this one. I'm staying away from Incarnate Word, but I would trust Trent Crim. And listen, I hope everything works out. That's the most I can give on this one.
And let's bring on our next one, coming from Joey Isaacs. It is the UTSA Troy over 55.5 or 56 today. This game is currently in the second quarter. UTSA leads 9-0. Troy's been backed up this entire game inside their own 10. I believe every drive has started there. They had a third down snap go over their head, take a safety punt. UTSA had like a 15-play drive, went down the field. It's currently 9-0. Call it middle of the second quarter, 9 minutes left. Troy facing a 2nd and 1 right now. So Joey's going to need some points. We'll see what happens, though. Just full transparency, I have the under, so I'm completely rooting against Joey, the complete opposite side of his bet. So we'll see who comes out ahead here, but we will be opposite sides. So best of luck to you, Joey, always in the comments, and he's always checking out our stuff, so I appreciate him. So thank you to those in the community picks. Let's talk some best bets for us tonight. I'm going to bring back the Saturday 4-pack. Donovan, you got 2 NBA bets and then a World Cup final pick for Sunday. So why not give us our 2 NBA picks, and then I'll do mine, and then we'll finish with your World Cup play.
Sounds good. So my first one, near and dear to your heart, I'm taking the Nets money line tonight against the Raptors. The Nets are 3-0 against the Raptors this year. They've been able to.
You bet they are.
They've been able to really get a stronghold in this season series, and Toronto, they come into this game, they're on a 3-game losing streak. They're 4-6 in their last 10 games. And the Nets are on the completely other side, very quietly moving up the Eastern Conference standings. They're 8-2.
Quietly, don't tell anybody.
They're quietly. Nobody's heard anything out of Brooklyn for the last 2 months, and in the meantime, they've gone from one of the worst teams to one of the better teams in the Eastern Conference. 8-2 in their last 10 games. They've won 4 in a row. Their defense over the last 10 games, 7th in the league in net rating. Very, very impressive stuff from them. While the Raptors in that same span are 17th in defensive rating. So I think as long as Brooklyn's defense can be passable tonight, which is probably going to happen, the stage is going to be set for Kevin Durant and for Kyrie Irving to go in, do what they do best, go get buckets, go out and win this game. It's a small spread, but I'll take the Nets on the money line.
Yeah, I was eyeing it. The only thing that scares me off of it is the fact that they won the first 3 games. Sweeping a team is tough, especially division foe. It's also bizarre. They're playing division foe for the 4th time. It's only December 16th. Just a little strange to me. Yeah. But listen, I can't hate the logic here. I do agree with the Nets being the side. The only thing keeping me off of it is the fact that they beat them the first 3 times. And it's tough to sweep a team, especially a division foe like that. But I do think that like Kyrie Irving has given the Raptors a ton of trouble this year. The Raptors have done a good job of limiting Kevin Durant. He scored actually the only 2 times he scored under 20 points this season were against the Raptors. But he could pass right out of it. The Raptors get up a lot of threes. The Nets obviously could gash him there. I just don't trust the Raptors offense right now.
OG's out. OG Anunoby, he's out. Precious Achua, he's out as well. And so like you're going to be leaning on Fred VanVleet, who's been kind of up and down the season. Pascal Siakam, he's going to do his thing, but I think that the defense that we are used to seeing from Toronto hasn't really showed up in the last 2.5 weeks, and so that might be to the detriment tonight. But I'm gonna listen. You and I won the same side, so we're gonna take the Nets money line tonight. Second one, I'm taking the Sacramento Kings against the Detroit Pistons. 5-point favorites tonight, and I really like this play. I think that this might be my favorite play of the day. Okay. The Kings are 3-1 against the spread as road favorites this season, and again, not like a crazy sample size, but it's nice to see. And the Pistons have the 2nd worst record in the NBA. They're 5-6-1 against the spread as home underdogs, and in those games, they have an average margin of victory of -7.7, which means that they're losing these games by about 8 points. And so you're telling me that this line is a little bit lower than that. Sacramento 5th in offensive rating on the season. Detroit is 25th. Sacramento also likes to push the ball. They are one of the higher paced teams in the league. I think that if they can get out in transition, start creating a lot more turnovers, they're going to get a lot more misses from Detroit, a lot more makes on their end, and they'll end up winning this one comfortably with margin.
Yeah. I'll ask you this. Are you buying into the Kings? Maybe not like a contender, but this hot start here, what are they? I mean, they must be 16-13, something like that, 17-13.
Yeah, they're probably going to finish somewhere in like the 5th or 6th seed.
So you think firm playoff team? Like this is not an aberration. The Kings are a playoff team.
I believe so.
I agree, man. They have a lot of talent.
I believe so. Look, 6, 7, and 8 in the Western Conference. They're the same amount of games back of the 1 seed. They're all 3.5 games back. Like the margins between these teams are very, very slight. And so if it ends up that Sacramento gets the top seed, or I guess gets the 6th seed and avoids the play-in, I wouldn't be shocked. Utah is 17-14. They shocked me last night by beating the Pels in overtime, but I don't trust Utah. They're going to fall off some more. The Mavericks can't get they can't put wins together. Golden State is about to fall off with Steph Curry's injury. Yeah. And then the Clippers, nobody's healthy for more than 2 games at a time. So and again, then the Timberwolves, Karl Anthony Towns, he's hurt as well. Their defense is lacking. So now I just listed off the teams from 7 through 11 in the Western Conference that they all have questions. So I buy the Kings.
Okay, there he is, Donnavan Smoot, Kings believer. I'm with you though. I totally agree.
Yeah. Hashtag Beam Team. I'm on the beam.
Light that beam. Hopefully light the beam for the road tonight. All right, let's do Saturday 4-pack bowl special. Maybe not like the classic noon, 3:37, 10:30, but we'll try here. We'll start at 2:15 p.m. the Las Vegas Bowl, Oregon State, Florida. I'm going to take the over 53 here. Florida still, they're not going to have Anthony Richardson, but they still have SEC athletes on the outside. And Jack Miller starting at quarterback. This was an Ohio State committee transfer. He was a 4-star recruit. He's not terrible, has very limited experience, but even if you run the ball, this is an Oregon State defense, bottom third of the country in EPA per rush. So I think Florida is going to be able to score. But on the other side of the ball, no shot you're stopping Oregon State in this running game with Florida's poorest defense, bottom 20 in the country, EPA per rush. So I think Florida, first of all, they're 5-0 against the spread as underdogs under Billy Napier this season, but all 5 of those games have gone over the total. So I'm not saying blindly bet trends, but there's clearly a game script to these Florida games when they're underdogs. They are going to be chasing points. They're going to be aggressive, and they're going to score with their talent on offense. So I like the over 53 there. I think you're going to see both teams push into the high 20s and the 30s there. 330, one of my favorite bowl bets of the season, Fresno State -4 against Washington State. Washington State, all Pac-12 linebacker out. He's going pro. Top 3 receivers out. One's hurt, 2 are in the portal. Both coordinators out. I mean, this team is ravaged. And Fresno State, rocket ship to finish the season, win the Mountain West. Jake Haener, best player on the field. I think he's going to slice and dice this skeleton crew Washington State defense. So give me Fresno with the 4 there. Don't forget, this is kind of a local game. It's the LA Bowl. Fresno nearby. I think Fresno gets a big crowd here and is up for this game. They cover the 4-point spread. 7:30, SMU -4 against BYU. Purely a play against BYU because BYU has 0 experience at quarterback. Jaron Hall is going to miss this game. He's going to think about the pros, and he's a little banged up anyway. It's going to be Finnegan for BYU. No experience. SMU, I don't love them to begin with, but at least they have their quarterback in Tanner Mordecai, and this is a BYU defense outside the top 100 in success rate. So I like the Mustangs. And then 9:15, Boise State team total over. This has been flashing around different numbers, so anything below 38 is good with me. I think Boise State's getting to the 40s here. North Texas, I know they made the Conference USA championship game, and everyone's going to think that this is some quality team, but they fired head coach Seth Luttrell, new AD. This is a team going through a transition right now, and their defense is terrible. Out bottom 10 in success rate, outside the top 100. Boise State's offense with Taylor Green really, really hit their stride. So I think Boise State is going to be able to kind of run wild and put up at least 5 touchdowns. So give me Boise State team total over. Anything below 38, I put out 36.5 there. These numbers are kind of all over the place. And yeah, there's the college football 4-pack for Saturday bowl season. We'll recap that in a sec. But Donnavan, let's talk some World Cup finals here as I get caught up on what's going on in the Cure Bowl.
Yeah, so Argentina and France, they're playing on Sunday for the World Cup title. It's a legacy game for real. You have Kylian Mbappe, who, if he and France can get the job done, Mbappe is going to have 2 World Cup titles under his belt at the age of 23.
Pretty good.
And potentially could win the Golden Boot at the same time. The Golden Boot is also on the line between him and Messi. And so that is also another big thing. But I'm taking Argentina to win, and you can get them at -108, and that covers everything, whether they win in regulation, extra time, or penalties. But I think that they end up lifting the trophy. And one of the things that, I mean, and you and we had talked about this a little bit earlier, but I'm really going off of the vibes. Argentina looks so invested in trying to get Messi this chip, and they look so much like we're the team of destiny, and we're going to be the ones that make sure that Messi goes out on top. And Messi, while he is fantastic, he's had help, right? The offense just hasn't been Messi by himself. You saw in the game against Croatia, Julian Alvarez, he was the one creating all 3 of those, at least the first 2 goals were created by Julian Alvarez's.
Yeah, and then Messi put on that wild play.
Yeah, and then Messi does what Messi does. Messi does what Messi does. But Alvarez, he goes and he's on the attack. He's the pressure. He's making everything happen for the first 2 goals. So I think that they can keep that up against France, and I think that they end up winning it all. Mbappe is going to have to play a really good game. This Argentinian defense is really good, but yeah, we're going out on top with Messi, and his GOAT status gets solidified. This is very much like, and the trophy is obviously way, way bigger. But this is like the Steph Curry Finals MVP, where it's like you don't need it for your legacy, but it would be very, very nice if you had it, and it just feels more complete if you do. And so I'm rooting for it personally, and I'm gonna bet on it as well. So yeah, go Argentina.
No, I completely agree. I think listen, I'm not a soccer guy, but just from a Messi winning perspective, I agree with you that he doesn't need it. We all know how great he is, but can't hurt. It's like kind of that one thing that has been
Yeah,
holding him back, something he hasn't been able to do. And I agree with you honestly. And I just think this like matchup is so perfect where you have like, France, all the hype that they're about to enter this golden age of soccer, and they're the upstart team. They're going for back to back, and then Argentina, this team that has come up short time and time again, has the best player in Messi, and can they get over the hump? I think it's like, storybook. I think
no,
so. I think
it's very story, but
this
it's
is
very
very,
this is a Disney movie waiting to happen.
yeah, this is
And
awesome, and I think
fantastic.
I think the game, because the match, if I remember correctly, the France Croatia title game from 4 years ago, that was like a blowout, right? Not that Croatia was anything that Argentina is, but that was a blowout, right? They won, they scored early, and it was like 3-0, 4-0, right?
Yeah, so it ended up being 3-1
3-1.
fairly, yeah, it was 3-1 fairly early, and then there was two more goals exchanged. France ends up winning 4-2.
Oh,
Um
4-2. Okay.
yeah, the game finishes 4-2, and Mbappe has the goal at the end to really kind of close the door on everything. But I think this one is going to be a little bit closer. I don't think we're going to see either Argentina or France pull away and get, a 3-1 win, a 4-2 victory in a very like convincing fashion. I think two goals may be it, and that two goals might be able to win you the World Cup title. And so whether this is 2-1 or 2-0, and even the 2-0 is going to be a really tightly contested 2-0. I could see it being 1-0 for a majority of the game,
Yeah.
and then maybe somebody closing the door at the end. But um, Messi's going to get this one, and this is his time. And I think Argentina gets the job done for him.
Good. I'm pumped to see that Sunday morning. Donovan taking the Argentina to just lift the trophy, lift the cup, lift the trophy, however you want to call it. So let's recap all those bets there, and then we'll talk some NFL for this weekend before we get to our marquee matchup. So again, Donovan tonight on the hardwood, he's taking the Brooklyn Nets money line against the Raptors, small favorite. I think it's like -120. The Kings -5 against the Pistons, and then Argentina -108 to lift the trophy, to win it all. Messi to get his first ever World Cup title. And then for me, Saturday, 4-pack, I'm taking Oregon State, Florida over 53 in the Las Vegas Bowl. Fresno State -4 against Washington State in the LA Bowl. SMU -4 against BYU in the New Mexico Bowl. And then the late night slate in the Frisco Bowl. We're going to take Boise State team total over. I think they run over North Texas. So there's our best bets there. Let's talk some NFL. We were talking about Argentina getting over the hump and getting the job done. We did not get the job done last week with our hot takes and our bold predictions. So just to recap, because we're all about transparency, even though these are a bit out there predictions, we were way off because, Donovan, you said Bill Belichick is going to be washed and the Cardinals are going to win on Monday Night Football, and that's going to be the end of the Patriots. Didn't get helped by Kyler Murray's tearing his ACL on this, second play of the game. But that didn't do him any favors. But Patriots, when they keep their playoff hopes alive, big game against Vegas. And then for me, though, I really whiffed. I didn't buy into the Brock Purdy hype. And the 49ers have looked like they haven't missed a beat with Mr. Purdy. So we'll see. I don't know why I didn't do it at Iowa State last year. But, Donovan, any thoughts on what went wrong for you last week? And then give me your hot take for this week, because I think we're going to be up against each other here.
Yeah, we kind of are. And last week, like you said, Kyler Murray gets hurt early, and the whole game plan kind of goes out the window. And now you're leaning on Colt McCoy, who's been solid, but he's not Kyler Murray. And so
no, Arizona's done.
Oh yeah, they're done. They're done. I think both of us have said it at one point, but Kingsbury has to get fired after the season. I think everybody's kind of expecting it. But somebody who's not going to get fired, I think that Mike McDaniel, after this week, his name is going to shoot up the Coach of the Year standings.
Okay.
I think Miami not only covers this week, I think that they win in Buffalo in the snow. I think that everybody is going much too hard on the Dolphins, and everybody is saying like, "Oh, they're figured out. They can't do anything. All you have to do is just play press man." okay, let's relax, right? You have Tyreek Hill and you have Jalen Waddle, two of the fastest guys, two of the most skilled guys in the league on the outside. If you continue to press Tyreek Hill, you're going to get burnt. That's going to happen. The Bills went into Miami in the first time. They got shut down there. Now we're going to be in a snow game where anything can happen, and the weather is going to be really really weird. The Bills the Bills are 2-5 since beating Kansas City. They're 2-5 against the spread. Since that game, they're 1-3 against the spread this season in divisional games. I think that they're being really really overhyped, and I think that everybody's overlooking the Dolphins this week. And because everybody has kind of gotten off of the Tua bandwagon, once they win this week, Mike McDaniel is going to be the one that's given the credit, and he's going to be the one that where everybody says, "Oh, look at all the adjustments he made. Look what a great coaching job." Da 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 da. Everybody already falls in love with him, right? He's 40-1 to win coach of the year.
Okay.
He is what is he? He's I guess technically he's the third shortest odds, right? It's Nick Sirianni by Nick Sirianni.
It's going to be tough to beat Nick Sirianni for sure.
It is, but McDaniels is going to shoot up, and I think that he might end up being a finalist this year. I think he's done a really good job, and with the second win on the road in the division to put them right back in the divisional race, I think McDaniels has a really good weekend coming his way.
I don't disagree with you, but I think McDaniel's done a great job, and he's been awesome this year, and he's proven to me he's a very dynamic coach. He's a good coach. I got to see this counter that he's going to have because it does seem like I don't think it's an exaggeration to say the Dolphins have been figured out. Like their first look has been figured out. Now, what's your counter to that? You got to stop now. How's your adjustment? The issue is I don't know if the quarterback is capable of taking advantage of the adjustment. I think
we overhate on Tua as well. I'm also a little more pro Tua than a lot of other people.
That's fair. I think that's fair. And this isn't a Mike McDaniel thing, but I just think, first of all, the travel spot is just miserable for the Dolphins, who had 2 games out west against San Francisco and LA. Now coming back home to then go up to Buffalo. First of all, you're going what? LA twice or California twice.
Yeah.
And then you're going back home to Miami. Then you're going up to Buffalo where it's going to be like freezing temperatures and snowing. I just think it's a brutal spot for Miami. And maybe Tua's hurt. I know he had that ankle injury at the end of the Niners game, they said. So maybe he's hurt, but he looked awful against a banged up Chargers team. This Buffalo defense.
I can't defend that. I can't defend that.
Yeah. So while I'm not necessarily going against the Mike McDaniel thing, I just don't know if Tua is capable of taking this Dolphins team on the road. Not to mention Tyreek Hill has a bum ankle now, or maybe it's hamstring, but he has an injury that was hobbling him at the end of the Chargers game. So just to me, it's a brutal spot. So that brings me to my hot take. I think even with Zach Wilson in for the Jets, I think that the Jets beat the Lions and the Dolphins lose to the Bills, and all of a sudden it's going to be the Jets are making the playoffs and not the Dolphins. Maybe the Jets part I'll be wrong on, but I feel like those 2 AFC teams, the AFC East teams, you could group together because they're rivals, and also they meet in Week 18 in Miami. So that might be a win-and-in scenario. So that's my hot take. Jets are going to make the playoffs over the Dolphins. Dolphins seen as this contender early on. They're fading off. This is a brutal spot for them. And now just to bring up the 2 schedules, I mean, it does not get any easier. As you look at the Dolphins, they play a suddenly in the playoff discussion Green Bay Packers next Sunday. Then they go to New England, which we just noted is going to be brutal weather, tough defense, Bill Belichick, and probably a must-win game. And then they play the Jets in Week 18. Meanwhile, the Jets, after this game, they get the Jaguars at home. They go to Seattle. All of a sudden, Seattle's falling apart. They can't stay healthy. Their offense can't figure anything out. And then they get the Dolphins at Week 18 game. So I think things are looking up for the Jets. And so now let's go back really quick before we get to our game of the night. Zach Wilson, Mike White not playing. Zach Wilson is playing. I don't like Zach Wilson. I'm not going to defend Zach Wilson. I will say, though, this Lions defense isn't some juggernaut. It's not some lockdown unit. They are based around their offense, and the Jets defense is very good. Even without Quinn and Williams, they're still very, very good. I think the Jets are an elite defense. So can Zach Wilson play just fine? We've seen him play fine. We've also seen him play absolutely atrocious, needs to find another line of work before. But can Zach Wilson play fine? And this is Jared Goff on the road in the cold. There's been much made of him playing at Cal, at the Rams. I remember the playoff game, he had a busted hand, but he had to play in Green Bay, and it didn't go well for him.
Yeah.
Maybe the cold weather in New York doesn't do the Lions very good in this offense. It's built more for a dome. I like the Jets still, even with the downgrade from Zach Wilson, from Mike White to Zach Wilson. What do you think about that?
That's not crazy.
Yeah. Forget the Dolphins part of it, because I know you disagree.
No.
Let's just talk Jets, Lions for a sec, and then we'll transition.
I think, honestly, I think that low-key this might be one of the more the funnest game of the weekend. But I think it's okay. I think that the Lions defense, I don't know if they're going to be able to get enough pressure on Zach Wilson, and if I'm really torn, because Zach Wilson, the last time we saw him, was terrible. But to give him a little bit of credit, he was playing a Patriots defense that is top 10 in points allowed. The Patriots defense it's a good unit. So, but I don't know. I think if I would say anything, I think that the under would be the play in this game. You kind of fade Zach Wilson and you fade Jared Goff at the same time, and that might be the way to go. But as for the play, I think I would go Lions, to be honest.
Okay.
I think I would go with the Lions, because Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift might be able to get the job done a little bit more than Zach Wilson.
Okay. Lions a 1-point road favorite now after the Zach Wilson news. Just worth noting, Lions 31st in EPA per play on defense this season. So it's not like Zach Wilson's going to be going up against the tougher defense in the league. Yeah. He will have at least
have a chance. Have a shot.
Advantageous situation. So yeah, so there's some NFL hot takes for you. Let's talk some hoop here. Let's talk some NBA, because our game of the night, the Los Angeles Lakers taking on two-time reigning MVP, Nikola Jokic, and the Denver Nuggets. We currently stand at, as I pull up the odds screen, we have the Nuggets as current market, a 1-point favorite, we'll call it, total of 237.5. Woo! It's a lot of points. Just to set the stage for this one, we have the Nuggets currently third in the Western Conference at 17-10. The Lakers still fighting an uphill battle, 11-16, despite Anthony Davis playing at an incredibly high level. Donnavan, what do you see here? Any thoughts, big picture, about maybe the Lakers' recent play? If people think that they're turning it around, what do you think?
So one thing, am I missing something here? Because I'm very shocked that this is like a 1-point spread. I think the Lakers, they've fallen back into their old ways. They're 1-4 in their last 5 games. And after the whole Anthony Davis resurgence, and even though that he's playing well, this still isn't a great team. Meanwhile, the Nuggets are still a solid team. They have the second best offensive rating in the league.
I was going to bring that up.
And even though that their defense is not good, the offense is really, really good, and it's able to mask their defense. Their offense is so good that even with the defense that's in the 20s, the Nuggets are still top 10 in net rating because of how potent that their offense is. I think that Nikola Jokic has a big game. I think that Jamal Murray is solid tonight, and that the Nuggets end up winning by basically a bucket tonight. So I'm my pick for the game, I'm taking the Nuggets on the spread.
Yeah, I'm with you here. I'm going to take Denver as well. You mentioned that offense. I was pretty adamant on this Lakers. People were like, oh, here come the Lakers. They're starting to turn it around. Like the Lakers might be turning into something. Like, in what world are they turning into something? Because you have, sorry, something just happened in the UTSA game, but the Lakers, a third of their wins, or now it might be a little bit less, but I believe they beat the Spurs 3 times this season. That's making up the majority of the wins. The Spurs are a tanking team. That's not impressive to me. Anthony Davis playing at a high level, but like this MVP talk for what? They're 6 games under 500. They're not even close to the playoffs. What? Like, I'm sorry. I didn't realize MVP is like, just like, here are the numbers. Like you got it. Like MVP, like they're going nowhere. So I agree with you. I think the Nuggets are a Western Conference Finals contender. Ironically, they played the Lakers in the bubble. Like you mentioned, number 2 offensive rating. Even without Michael Porter Jr., this team is going to hum on offense. And you just look, recent game at Portland, similar setup. Portland's a good team. That is a playoff team. That is a deep team with shot makers all over. Denver was laying 1.5 in Portland. So I think you're paying a tax to back Los Angeles in this spot, with the star power and Anthony Davis and LeBron James.
Yeah.
This team isn't good. Nothing has changed to make the Nets, as I read the comments, but make the Lakers some sort of contender here. To answer Nicole's question, yes, we already spoke about how the Nets are the look tonight in Toronto. So I'm on the Nuggets with you here on the road. I just think I don't see why we're rushing to back the Lakers in here. Pick them here. Any other closing remarks, Donovan?
I mean, the Lakers. Listen, the Lakers. She's Nicole's asking about, am I on the Knicks tonight? I'm actually not on the Knicks tonight. I actually think that this is a sell high spot for New York, and they've won 6 games in a row. Over the last 10 games, they have the second best net rating in the league, but that's only turned into a 6-4 record, and that's what scares me tonight. Playing a Chicago team that they just saw the other night. Game went into overtime. Chicago won both quarters in the second half, and so I think this is a spot where New York kind of falls back down. Again, second best net rating, only 6-4. The other two teams, the team above them is the Grizzlies. They're 7-3. The team below them, the Boston Celtics, they're 7-3. It hasn't looked the same for New York. So I'm taking the Bulls tonight. Well, if I would, I'm not betting against the Knicks, but if I was betting on this game, I'm taking the Bulls.
Okay, so, there it is. Donovan, any closing remarks before we get out of here?
Yeah, so it's my last show ever at BetSided. Tomorrow is my last day. So appreciate to everybody at BetSided, to all the viewers, everybody behind the scenes. Y'all have been homies, and thank y'all.
Donovan, it has been a pleasure to work with you, a pleasure to host these Friday shows with you for what now, 6-7 months now or whatever. So it's been a pleasure to work with you. You will be missed. I have no idea what I'm going to do on Fridays. I don't know if they'll just give me the mic by myself and let me spew on live camera for a while, but we'll see what they do. But seriously, I wish you all the best. I'm pumped to see all the stuff in the future. Make sure you're following him on Twitter at dsmoot3d for more on that.
You, homie.
And then one last community pick. And Donovan, they are sad to see you go. They want to ride with you one last time. The community has chimed in, has taken the Nuggets -1.5 with us. So all the same way here. Denver -1.5 is our best bet. And there's our show. Like we said, busy week of sports. So everybody have a profitable weekend. Enjoy the Bulls. Enjoy the World Cup. Enjoy the sports left and right. Everywhere you go. Big shout out to our video producer, JJ, behind the scenes. Until then, we will see you on Monday.